You're born in Detroit, Michigan. Your father's a patrol cop who drinks his paycheck every Friday night. Your mother cleans office buildings at 3 a.m. for $8 an hour. You grow up in a house where the electric gets shut off twice a year and dinner is whatever's on sale at the gas station. You watch your old man come home every night talking about the scumbags who live better than he does. The dealers with gold chains, the pimps with Cadillacs, the bookies counting cash while he's counting bills he can't pay. You're 12 when you realize the uniform doesn't make you rich. It makes you a target. Kids at school whose dads sell drugs have better sneakers than you. They laugh when your stomach growls in class because there's no lunch money. You learn that being good doesn't pay the rent. Being honest doesn't put food on the table. The only thing worse than being a criminal is being a broke cop. You graduate high school with average grades and no money for college. The police academy is free. It's also the only door open to a kid from your zip code. 6 months of training, decent starting salary, pension after 20 years. Your father says it's steady work. Your mother says it's respectable. Neither mentions it's dangerous as hell in a city where everyone hates cops and cops hate everyone. Your first year on the beat is education in reality. You patrol neighborhoods where 14-year-olds drive cars worth more than your annual salary. You arrest dealers who get released before your paperwork is finished. You watch prosecutors plea down murders to jaywalking because the courts are backed up for 2 years. And the system isn't broken, it's designed to fail. Your partner is Luis Morales, 15-year veteran who shows you the ropes. He explains how things really work. You don't make money following rules. You make money understanding that everyone has a price, including you. He shows you the first envelope, $500 from Mickey Chen, who runs poker games in Chinatown. Chen pays you to look the other way when his games run late. It's not really corruption, Luis explains. It's community policing. The money feels wrong for about a week. Then your car breaks down and you need $800 for repairs. Your credit cards are maxed. Your father's too drunk to help. The $500 from Mickey Chen suddenly feels like a gift from God. You take the next envelope, then the next. Within 6 months, you're making more from envelopes than your actual salary. The system is beautifully simple. Small businesses pay for protection from harassment. Drug dealers pay for early warnings about raids. Prostitutes pay to avoid arrest. Bookies pay for customer privacy. Everyone pays something. The only people who don't pay are the ones too broke to matter or too powerful to touch. You're the tax collector for a shadow economy that runs parallel to everything legal. You learn the hierarchy quickly. Beat cops get envelope money. Sergeants get a percentage of every envelope in their district. Lieutenants coordinate with organized crime. Captains take meetings with politicians. Everyone eats, and everyone stays quiet. The blue wall of silence isn't about protecting bad cops, it's about protecting the money. Yeah, your first real score comes from Carlos Vega, mid-level cocaine distributor who moves product through the West Side. Carlos gets arrested by DEA agents who don't coordinate with local police. Bad luck for him. Good opportunity for you. You visit Carlos in lockup. You explain that his evidence room cocaine might accidentally get contaminated. Lab tests might get delayed. Witnesses might develop memory problems. Your services cost $50,000. Carlos pays. The evidence disappears. The case collapses. Carlos walks free and owes you a favor that's worth more than money. You've graduated from taking envelopes to actively obstructing justice. The line you crossed wasn't a line. It was a cliff, and you jumped without looking down. The psychological shift happens gradually. You stop seeing victims and criminals. You see revenue streams. The elderly woman whose purse got snatched is a case number. The dealer who pays your rent is a business partner. The prostitute who gives you free services is an informant. Everyone is either useful or useless. Nothing else matters. You develop your own network. Dispatch operators who alert you to drug raids. Evidence clerks who misplace crucial items. Prosecutors who recommend light sentences. Public defenders who convince clients to plead out. You're not just a corrupt cop anymore. You're the CEO of a criminal enterprise that operates inside the legal system. The money allows lifestyle upgrades. Better apartment in a safer neighborhood. Reliable car that starts in winter. Clothes that don't come from thrift stores. Your mother stops working night shifts because you pay her bills. Yeah, your father stops drinking as much because life doesn't seem hopeless anymore. Success has a way of justifying everything that bought it. You meet Maria at a bar in Greektown. She's a nurse who works emergency room shifts and doesn't ask too many questions about your income. You tell her you do security consulting. She doesn't push for details. The wedding is small but expensive. Honeymoon in Cancun that costs more than your father made in 6 months when you were a kid. The DEA task force arrives in your city with federal funding and reform mandates. They're hunting for exactly the kind of corruption you represent. Your network provides early warnings about their targets and methods. You help criminal organizations adapt their operations to avoid detection. You're not just taking bribes anymore. You're actively working against federal law enforcement. The task force includes Agent Sarah Chen, an ambitious prosecutor who thinks she can clean up your department. She's smart, honest, and completely naive about how deep the corruption runs. You get assigned as her liaison, which gives you perfect access to her investigation plans. Every move she makes, you know about before she makes it. The first serious threat comes from Jimmy Torres, young detective who's been asking uncomfortable questions about evidence room discrepancies. Jimmy is honest, thorough, and dangerously curious about cases that should have been closed months ago. He's exactly the kind of cop you used to be before you understood how the world actually works. The decision to eliminate Jimmy Torres takes 3 sleepless nights. You tell yourself he's naive and idealistic and bound to get himself killed eventually anyway. You tell yourself that protecting the network protects dozens of families who depend on the income. You tell yourself that one death prevents many more. None of these rationalizations make the decision easier, but they make it possible. Jimmy's death is arranged to look like a gang retaliation. He was working undercover narcotics and had been receiving threats from dealers he'd arrested. The story writes itself. The investigation concludes within 2 weeks. The funeral draws hundreds of cops who genuinely believe Jimmy died serving justice. You're a pallbearer at the service. The money from Jimmy's murder is $50,000. You donated anonymously to a scholarship fund for children of fallen police officers. And it doesn't make you feel better, but it makes the hypocrisy complete. You're funding memorials for people you helped kill while accepting gratitude from families you've destroyed. Your relationship with Maria begins deteriorating under the weight of secrets you can't share. She knows you're different but doesn't understand why. You're distant, paranoid, angry at things you can't explain. She suggests marriage counseling, but therapy requires honesty you can't afford. The stress manifests in physical symptoms that doctors can't diagnose. The network starts unraveling when Captain Morrison gets arrested by the FBI for tax evasion. Morrison knows about financial arrangements throughout the department, including your involvement. He's facing 20 years in federal prison unless he cooperates with investigators. Everyone who ever paid Morrison is now a potential target. Your criminal partners hold an emergency meeting to discuss damage control. The same people who paid you for years are now calculating whether your death would be cheaper than your testimony. The mathematics of criminality are brutally simple. Living witnesses are expensive, dead witnesses are free. The final betrayal comes from Luis Morales, your former partner who recruited you into corruption 15 years ago. Luis makes a deal with federal prosecutors to testify against the network in exchange for witness protection. He provides detailed financial records of bribes, payoffs, and murder conspiracies. Your name appears on every page. You get the warning from a dispatcher who still owes you favors. Federal agents are 20 minutes away with arrest warrants for racketeering. A conspiracy and murder! You have time to grab your emergency bag and disappear, but leaving means abandoning Maria and admitting that everything about your life has been a lie. You choose to run. You write Maria a letter explaining nothing except that you love her and she's better off without you. You leave the letter on the kitchen table next to divorce papers you've already signed. You disappear into traffic on I-75 heading south, becoming a fugitive from the same justice system you spent 15 years corrupting. You're captured at a roadside motel in Texas, counting money you stole from evidence rooms while watching news coverage of your own trial. Your former criminal partners testify against you to reduce their own sentences. Agent Chen prosecutes the case personally, presenting evidence that proves you were more criminal than most criminals. You're sentenced to life in federal prison without possibility of parole. The same justice system you spent 15 years undermining demonstrates exactly how well it functions when it's not being corrupted. You're 42 years old and will die in a cage surrounded by criminals who respect you less than the guards who despise you. Prison is education in consequences. You're housed in protective custody because corrupt cops don't last long in general population. 23 hours a day in an 8x10 cell with 1 hour of supervised exercise. No conjugal visits because Maria divorced you. No family visits because your parents disowned you. You spend your time reading law books, understanding the system you helped break. You watch television news covering crimes that happen in your old territory, knowing they're possible because the network you built is still operating with new personnel. The corruption continues without you because corruption is systematic, not personal. New cops take the same envelopes you used to collect. New criminals pay the same bribes to new officers. The machine keeps running because the machine is bigger than any individual component. Somewhere in Detroit right now, a young police officer is struggling to pay bills on a government salary. Someone is offering them easy money to look the other way just once. They're telling themselves it's not really corruption, just community policing. They have no idea they're about to become exactly what you became. This story is fiction, but police corruption is real. The financial pressures are real. The systematic nature of the problem is real. And somewhere right now, a good cop is about to make the same first compromise that leads to the same inevitable ending.